From a 1,000-foot abandoned skyscraper to an entirely fake city block and the world's largest sports arena, here are some of North Korea's most bizarre and secretive architectural feats. Number 1. The Ryugyang Hotel. Towering over the skyline of Pyongyang, North Korea, the Ryugyang Hotel is one of the strangest and most haunting skyscrapers ever built. Standing at over 1,000 feet tall with 105 floors, it was once on track to be the tallest hotel in the world, until something tragic occurred. Construction began in 1987, during a time when North Korea desperately wanted to show off its strength and modernity. The hotel was the perfect tool for this, as it easily rose above the city skyline and would have become an iconic landmark. Not only was it visually impressive, but the hotel was supposed to include a variety of amenities, such as revolving restaurants, luxury suites, and panoramic views of the capital. The project was so immense that by the time it was halted, the government had spent over $750 million, a sum so large it would ultimately lead to the project's downfall. Right as the final details were added to the skyscraper in the early 90s, North Korea's economy began to collapse, and construction came to a halt. The Ryugyang's construction contributed to this fall, and the economy has never fully recovered. For over 16 years, the massive glass shell stood completely empty. No lights, no guests, just a hollow pyramid looming over the city like something straight out of a dystopian novel. Eventually, a foreign company was brought in to cover the building in a shiny glass facade, but it was all just for show. To this day, the interior has never been finished, and it has never officially opened. It is the second tallest unoccupied building in the world, only behind China's 2,000-foot Golden Finance Tower. In the years after its completion, North Korea simply pretended it didn't exist, removing it from maps and brochures entirely. However, its impact could not be erased, and the tower still stands as a reminder of one of North Korea's biggest failures. Number 2. The Arch of Triumph. In 1982, North Korea finished the Arch of Triumph in Pyongyang, an almost 200-foot-tall arch meant to honor Kim Il-sung's role in resisting the Japanese occupation. However, the monument wasn't just built to commemorate someone, it also serves a much darker purpose. This is the Arc de Triomphe, one of France's most famous structures, and you may notice a few similarities between it and the North Korean monument. Not only do they share the same name, but they are almost identical in appearance. However, the North Korean version is actually slightly taller, standing at 197 feet, compared to the Arc de Triomph's 164 feet. This size difference was intentional, as a way of surpassing the French version. The entire structure is meant to stand as a symbol of North Korean excellence, and its marble surface is engraved with revolutionary slogans, dates of national importance, and over 25,000 separate blocks. It's not just architecture, it's ideology carved into stone. And just like many things in North Korea, the arch is as much about power as it is about design. Number 3. Rungrad Mayday Stadium. Most would expect the world's largest arena to be in a more visited country, like the United States or a famous European city. But in reality, it is located in the heart of North Korea. This next structure might look like a spaceship that crash-landed in the middle of Pyongyang, but it's actually the largest stadium in the world, with a capacity of over 150,000 people. The purpose of the Rungrad Mayday Stadium isn't for sporting events, but rather something much darker. Costing almost $250 million to build, it's over 5 times the size of Madison Square Garden, yet it is almost fully reserved for propaganda events hosted by the North Korean government. These events are known as the Mass Games. Thousands of dancers, gymnasts, and schoolchildren move in perfect synchronization to form human murals and wave massive colored cards like pixels in a living billboard. Every movement, every light, every beat of music is planned down to the second. The stadium itself is shaped like a magnolia blossom, the country's national flower, and contains 16 arches connecting up to the roof. The stadium was built in 1989 and was meant to show that North Korea was capable of greatness, capable of hosting international events and competing with the West. But over time, it has become less of a stadium and more of a stage. Its purpose is not entertainment, but rather control of the North Korean population. Number 4. The Scitec Complex. On an island in the middle of the Taedong River stands one of the strangest buildings in the entire country, a massive complex shaped like a literal atom. It is known as one of the most secretive and advanced facilities in the entire country, but in reality, this might all be an illusion. This is the Scitec Complex, a futuristic research center built in 2015 and said to represent the regime's commitment to technological advancement. The exterior features sweeping curves, metallic textures, and a large central dome. There are exhibits on space travel, agriculture, physics, and of course, nuclear energy. But reports suggest many of the displays are outdated and sometimes completely fake. Behind the sleek facade is a building more focused on appearances than actual education. In fact, most North Koreans aren't even allowed inside. It's reserved for elite scientists, foreign visitors, and those chosen to show off the country's progress. Even stranger, the building is heavily secured. Visitors are escorted, rooms are monitored, and certain areas are completely off limits. There are even rumors that the Scitec Complex doubles as a cyber warfare training facility, with some defectors claiming that parts of the building are used to train North Korea's infamous hacking teams. However, in reality, the building is most likely just another piece of propaganda, one that pushes the idea that North Korea is more technologically advanced than it really is. Number 5. Mira Scientists Street. Just down the road from the Scitec Complex is one of the most unique and perplexing neighborhoods in the entire world. This is Mira Scientists Street, which translates to Future Scientists Street, and from a distance it's impressive. Skyscrapers in bright blues and greens, curved balconies, glowing signage, all of it meant to represent a new, modern North Korea. But the moment you step closer, this illusion falls apart. The buildings may look advanced and unlike anything else in the world, but most of the towers are completely empty, and the reason for this is more complicated than you might think. There are reports that some apartments were built too quickly, with poor insulation, faulty wiring, and limited water pressure. These issues pushed away many possible residents, causing the towers to only fall apart further. Some towers were allegedly only used as a facade for foreign media and were left vacant after the photo ops ended. This entire district was built in just over a year, an insane timeline for a project of this scale. The goal was to show off a new North Korea, one full of scientific progress and sleek urban planning. But reality is more artificial than futuristic. It's a village meant to serve an outside eye, not those actually living in the community. Still, Mira Scientist Street remains one of the most visually unique areas in the entire country. And while its function is questionable, its aesthetics are undeniably surreal. Now, you may be wondering how an isolated country like North Korea can possibly afford to spend billions on massive, often empty architecture projects. Well, the truth is darker than it seems. While millions of citizens live in poverty and face chronic food shortages, the regime diverts resources into concrete monuments meant to glorify its image. Funding often comes from illicit arms deals, cybercrime, and black market smuggling, propping up projects designed more to intimidate than to serve. And yet, they keep building. Because in North Korea, architecture isn't about shelter or progress. It's about controlling a population and demonstrating power. And even when projects fail, the country must continue on, and no one knows what they have planned next.